Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into something pretty crucial for businesses trying to, well, stay organized and effective.
That's right. We're looking at how companies manage to handle things like quality, environmental impact, worker safety, all at once.
Exactly, without getting totally bogged down in separate systems for everything.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to really unpack the idea of an integrated management system, or IMS.
Hmm.
We've got some great sources here that define it, explain how it works in practice, and even touch on the strategic side of things.
And it's important to say this isn't just jargon. We're talking about real strategic alignment here.
Yeah.
It leads to tangible benefits. So the big question is, what does it really mean to integrate these key management systems? And, why are so many organizations moving this way?
Right. Let's start right there. What is an integrated management system fundamentally?
Okay.
Our sources basically define IMS as merging various management systems into one single framework. Usually it combines two or more of those ISO standards,
Yeah, the common ones.
like ISO 9001 for quality, maybe ISO 14001 for environment, and ISO 45001 for health and safety.
Precisely.
The core idea seems to be, instead of running these in isolation, you align them. You get one coordinated structure for policies, procedures, processes.
Cuts down duplication.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
boosts consistency.
Yeah, and maybe a quick example helps. Imagine a company, let's call them Evergreen Logistics.
Okay.
Before IMS, they might have had, a quality team, an environmental team, a safety team, separate audits, separate meetings, separate everything.
Right, siloed.
Totally.
Yeah.
But with IMS, like that case study of company XYZ Burhad in one of the sources, it changes. They might do one internal audit covering all three areas.
Okay.
One management review report for leadership, not three.
Yeah.
Shared documents, shared action plans. It really connects things. It moves from like separate planets to one system.
That makes a lot of sense conceptually. But okay, here's what I'm wondering. Why bother? If a company already has certifications for each standard separately, why go through the effort to merge them? What's the real driver?
That's a really good question. And the why is pretty compelling. It goes way beyond just ticking boxes.
Okay.
First off, you get a massive reduction in redundancy. Think about it, processes like internal audits, document control, even training.
Mm-hmm.
They often overlap hugely
Yeah.
between, say, quality and safety.
Right. You're doing the same thing multiple times.
Exactly. IMS cuts that out.
Yeah.
And naturally, that leads to improved efficiency. Shared processes mean less effort, lower costs, smoother workflows.
Makes sense.
Then there's streamlined compliance. Meeting different regulatory demands or customer requirements becomes much easier when you tackle them in a unified way.
Mm.
But here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. It's not just about saving money. IMS actually forces synergy. It breaks down those departmental walls.
How so?
Well, when quality goals, environmental targets, and safety objectives are all managed together, people have to talk to each other. Procurement needs to consider environmental specs. Operations needs to factor in safety procedures alongside quality checks.
Ah, I see. It encourages collaboration.
It compels it. And this fosters a shared culture of responsibility. Ultimately, it leads to more unified decision-making. Everyone's pulling in the same direction strategically.
That idea of forced synergy is really powerful. It sounds like it genuinely changes how people work together. Now, we've mentioned ISO 9001, 14001, 45001. For listeners who might know these individually, what's the interesting connection or even the challenge when you try to integrate these specific standards?
Yeah, great point. We know their individual focus, right?
Yeah.
9001 is all about the customer, ensuring
Yeah.
quality, consistency.
Right.
14001 deals with the environment, managing impacts, complying with regulations, sustainability.
Yep.
And 45001 is focused squarely on the workforce, preventing injuries, providing safe workplaces.
Okay.
So on the surface, they seem quite distinct. Customers, planet, workers. But the fascinating part, and often the sticking point without IMS, is that they're operational nuts and bolts.
Ah, the processes.
Exactly. Things like risk assessment, managing documents, training, audits, management reviews, these are common threads. A process designed for quality control under 9001 might have waste implications for 14001 or involve hazardous materials relevant to 45001.
I see. So IMS makes you look at those overlaps.
It forces you to see the whole picture and manage it holistically. And it's not just those three either. You've got other compatible standards like ISO 50001 for energy management.
Driving efficiency, cutting emissions.
Right. Or ISO 27001 for information security, protecting data assets. These can often fit into the same integrated framework. And the reason they all fit together so well, despite different focuses, is because of this this kind of master key they all share now.
A master key. Okay, I'm intrigued. Our sources mentioned something called the high-level structure, HLS. Is that the secret sauce you're talking about?
Yeah.
What is HLS and why is it so critical for integration?
You got it. HLS is the secret sauce, the architectural key. ISO introduced it back in 2012. Essentially, it's a standardized blueprint.
A blueprint.
Yeah, it means all new ISO management system standards have to follow the same core structure, use the same key terms, the same definitions. Think of it like a common backbone.
Okay, so like chapters in a book being the same across different subjects.
Sort of, yeah. They all have 10 core clauses, and clauses 4 through 10 are the operational heart, consistent across standards.
Interesting. Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's take clause 4, context of the organization. Before HLS, you might analyze your business context separately for quality, then environment, then safety. With HLS, all standards require you to do this once, comprehensively. Consider all internal-external issues, all interested parties, customers, staff, regulators, everyone relevant to all your systems.
Ah, so one analysis covers everything.
Exactly. Or clause 5,
Uh,
leadership. It demands top management commitment not just to one standard, but to the effectiveness of the integrated system, unified leadership.
Yeah.
And clause 6, planning. This covers identifying risks and opportunities and setting objectives. Again, HLS makes this a single integrated process. You look at risks impacting quality, environment, and safety together. Much more holistic.
I see how that structure really forces integration.
Absolutely. And because they share terms like interested parties, documented information, risk and opportunity, corrective action, it just clicks together. Requirements like leadership involvement, risk planning, competency, internal audits, they're practically identical text in 9001, 14001, 45001 because of HLS.
Wow.
The benefits are huge. Easier integration, way less duplication in documents, training, audits, clearer for employees. It promotes the systemic view, aligning everything. It's like having one master blueprint for a house, not separate ones for plumbing, electrics, and structure that might clash.
That house blueprint analogy really clicks. Okay, so HLS makes it possible, maybe even logical, but no big change is ever completely smooth sailing, is it?
Definitely not.
This brings up a key question. What are the typical roadblocks? What hurdles do organizations face when they actually try to implement an IMS? And maybe more importantly, how do they get past them?
Yeah, that's crucial. One of the biggest hurdles, almost universally, is resistance to change.
Ah, the human element.
Always. Employees might feel overwhelmed. Maybe they're comfortable with the old ways, worried about more work, or even job security. You see it as low engagement, maybe passive resistance.
Just how do you tackle that?
Well, the sources suggest you can't just dictate it. You need to communicate the benefits, clearly show people how it makes their jobs easier. Fewer audits, maybe clearer procedures, involve them early on. And appointing internal change champions can really help.
People who are already on board.
Exactly. People who can guide their peers. Another big one is resource limitations.
Money, time, people.
The usual suspects. Integrating systems can seem daunting, needing new tools, lots of training, maybe more staff. Budgets get tight, management support might waver.
So what's the smart way around that? You can't just magic up resources.
No, but you can be strategic. Don't try to, boil the ocean. Start smaller. Pilot the IMS in one department or for just 2 standards initially.
Okay, proof of concept.
Right, and leverage what you already have. Maybe extend your existing internal audit schedule instead of creating a whole new one. Use cross-functional teams so expertise and workload are shared.
Smart. Any other major hurdles?
Documentation. The sheer complexity of merging documentation. Imagine taking 3 sets of procedures, checklists, risk assessments, and trying to match them into one coherent system.
Sounds like a nightmare. Inconsistencies, confusion.
It can be. The key here is standardization, right from the start. Use templates based on that HLS structure. Go digital. It makes control, access, and updates so much easier.
Centralized control.
Yeah. And having someone even part-time assigned to coordinate the documentation effort makes a huge difference.
Those are really practical, insightful strategies.
What?
Okay, so let's say a company is ready. They've got the buy-in. They understand the hurdles. What does the actual implementation journey look like? Can you walk us through the steps? Give us the roadmap.
Sure. It's generally a pretty logical step-by-step process. It really has to start with step 1, planning and leadership commitment. And this isn't just a nod from the top. It's active championship.
Setting the tone.
Absolutely. You need to form a dedicated, cross-functional team. Define the vision, the scope, which standards are we integrating, and the objectives. What does success look like?
Okay, foundation first. What's next?
Step 2 is the gap analysis. This is your reality check. Assess where you currently stand against each standard you're integrating. Where are the overlaps already? Where are the gaps the IMS needs to fill?
Sort of a diagnostic.
Then comes step 3, process alignment and harmonization. This is where the real integration work happens.
And nuts and bolts.
Yeah. Merging those similar processes, risk assessment, document control, training plans, standardizing documents, using that HLS framework we talked about, developing integrated procedures, building the bridges.
Makes sense. Then what?
Step 4, training and awareness. Crucial. Everyone needs to understand the new integrated system, the principles, their specific roles. It's about fostering ownership, not just ticking a training box.
Getting everyone on the same page.
Right. Then step 5, internal audits and performance review. This is your internal checkup. Is the integrated system working? Are there issues? The findings from these audits feed into a consolidated management review.
One big review covering everything.
Yep. Quality, environment, safety, all assessed together by leadership. Then step 6, corrective actions and continuous improvement. You fix what you found in the audits, update documents, tweak processes. It's that cycle of improvement built into ISO.
Refining the system.
Constantly. And finally, step 7, the external certification audit. You bring in an accredited certification body. They conduct one big audit covering all the integrated standards.
The final exam.
Kind of. And achieving that IMS certification validates all the hard work. It shows your unified system meets international standards.
Wow, quite a journey. We've really covered a lot, from understanding what IMS is to why it's so beneficial, how those different ISO standards actually mesh together.
Especially with that HLS structure acting as the glue.
Exactly. And we looked at the real-world challenges and how to tackle them before laying out that clear 7-step path to getting it done. It really paints a picture of moving from, well, scattered efforts to a unified strategic whole.
It really does.
Yeah.
And, if we take a step back and think about the bigger picture here, an integrated management system, it isn't just about compliance checklists or saving a bit of money on audits.
No.
I think it represents something deeper, a fundamental shift towards a truly holistic way of operating, a culture where quality, environmental care, and worker safety aren't separate concerns, but are woven into the fabric of every decision, every process.
Interconnectedness.
Yeah, it's moving away from just reacting to rules and silos towards a proactive state where every single part of the business works together for this shared vision of, well, excellence and genuine sustained value.
That's a powerful thought to end on. A fundamental shift in culture, not just process. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.
My pleasure.
And for all of you listening, we hope this gives you something to think about, how these ideas of integration and holistic thinking might connect, perhaps surprisingly, to your own work or interests. Until next time.